Hi, welcome to Jade Kind Gaming. My name is Adam, here with Austin, Ryan, Bob, and Nick. A little bit unusual to have them all here, as this is not specifically a gaming session. This is part 2 of actually building a world. Now, some of you know more or less about the world that I've begun putting together.
Is it Inside Out?
No, not that one, no.
Then, yeah,
but I have built many
nothing.
worlds.
I've got nothing.
So we're at the caravan.
But as a general concept, my idea is that I would like to create a world that I use over and over again and continue to build over multiple campaigns to see what I can come up with. I've always loved creating worlds, and generally have made a new one for all of the games that I've run. This will not be the last world I build. If something doesn't fit within this world, don't feel like, oh, well, that game never gets run. But I'm gonna, put you through it over and over, and I figured it'd be nice to begin with your input. Now, I'm not. I've been thinking about this for a year and a half now, and I guess I'll say I've not really started ironing things out. Nothing's set in stone, and I did want to get your input before really starting to put all my notes into any sort of form to combine your input with that. So to try and get you thinking, I've come up with questions about what you want from the world. However, if you want to say something that you desire for the world and it doesn't come up, you can do so. So the first point of topic. What sorts of games do you want to be able to play in the world, other than the general explore the world on some grand adventure type of
meta game, like what kind of adventures we want to have, not games like dice and chess.
Exactly. Like what sorts of games?
The only person who's ever run this campaign was Ryan, and it was just us, and I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy high-level political campaigns.
Okay.
Where we are...
So not necessarily character level, but like high power...
No, like you're in the upper 20s, and you build a kingdom around your awesome self. And that kingdom interacts with other kingdoms.
So, no, but the key thing is less the fighting power, more the nobility, influence.
Well, it's Superman dilemma. What do you do when you have all the power in the world? You have to be very careful not to tilt the scales too much.
Yeah, so I really like the idea of having, I don't know, I'd like it if it had distinct kingdoms with distinctly different laws. Because, big battle type campaigns, go into other country and infiltrate or steal stuff campaigns. It'd be fun to do like almost a privateer kind of campaign, either actually as pirates or as a thieves guild that actually works with their government.
That's called privateering.
Whatever, I already said.
Privateering is pirating with a license.
That's what I said.
I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember that phrase.
So, I would
Is
really...
that from that?
It's used in it.
Okay.
Well,
but that's what privateers are.
Why did you interrupt to tell everyone the thing that I already said?
Because he wants to sound smart. Just let him have it. He
Okay.
gets it so rarely.
But, so I would really enjoy that kind of campaign where it would be fun to be good thieves. I don't know, something like that. So I would like... So the point of that is I would like distinct kingdoms in which to act in, not just Kingdom A, Kingdom B, they are the same.
Okay.
It's just they are different.
Yeah.
Technically. Or to be able to jump borders back and forth or smuggle stuff in between. I would like government... I want governments that I can work with and around.
Okay.
Something you've often not done is have an actual in-game thing for adventurers, why they would exist as the murder hobos / mercenaries they are. Because usually it is cheaper to hire 4 guys of, level 12 than an entire platoon to go take out a goblin base.
Have you seen how much adventurers charge?
I've seen how much we get paid, and it's less than an entire legion.
Yeah. It's just, in my mind, monster problems would be hired out because your armies for fighting other armies, and most of your soldiers are conscripts. There's probably 1/3 are actual full-time military, if that.
Depends on the timeline.
Yeah, and
For a very
like,
long time, there were no standing armies.
yeah, you have to remember that right now is very weird. Us living in America, our army is a weird thing to exist. A lot of places don't have armies like that.
Well, I was
lots of
thinking of
armies do.
stronghold kingdoms and
Now.
stuff like that, where you have to raise levies.
You also had the medieval, where it was essentially the small elite armies. It was just like princedoms fighting princedoms, and the peasants are
With
like,
mostly mercenaries.
and it's like we're farming, leave us alone.
Yeah, that was mostly mercenaries. Like most medieval age fought with a lot of mercenaries.
Yeah, so
Nobody had actual
you've
soldiers.
often had the city guard or the country's military take care of all monster problems, where I could see in a lot of places it would be cheaper to hire a small group of higher level people. Also, I wouldn't mind, given that I know a little bit more of the world you're planning, a small, I believe it is the Untamed one, start up a city and build a city campaign.
Yeah, it's kind of almost what I was thinking with some of his stuff. Because while I definitely have set kingdoms on the larger nation that do have some differences, very political differences, for actually running nobles, those have set nobility in. But I'm like, yeah, in the building a nation part of it, there's no reason you guys couldn't carve your own spot there. I could definitely leave areas for that.
Nobles are important. Who would we kill?
And for whom would we kill? I mean, we got to have someone to kill and someone to pay us to do it. We don't do this for funsies.
Nobles on all sides.
Circular.
Any other
squad.
thoughts on that? Things
No.
to...
I do like the idea of having some sort of like a high espionage game, where it's. I actually thought the idea of us having essentially being very skilled at getting in and out of places and doing it, and having one of the big conflicts is Adam trying to actually capture us. As far as like us running around trying to avoid being caught while we're doing our...
So almost like a reversal of the standard game, where instead of it's us trying to capture whoever, it's Adam is playing like guards and whatever. You'll actually have some of that in my game coming up. So I finally figured out how I'm going to handle something to look forward to probably 2 years from now when it finally comes out. But you're actually hitting on it very closely to what I have planned for the campaign coming up.
I like playing bruisers in espionage campaigns.
Yeah, I know.
I
so sneaky.
I
So sneaky.
absolutely hate the actual political nonsense. I'm much more of a flip table, beat other person to death with the table.
Yeah, Greasy
No,
Joe.
he has his place
We're
in
familiar with you,
espionage.
Greasy Joe.
He has his place in espionage. It's just not very sneaky. It's, okay, so here's what we figured out. And we could really use this noble kill. He goes to this bar. I could use it if you went and started a bar fight and he happened to die in the ensuing chaos.
Alternatively, I am being sneaky. You didn't see me, did you?
That dude succeeded his wisdom save. He got to go home and see his family.
You gonna argue with an 8-foot tall ogre? No.
No.
I don't know if it falls under this category, but I'd also totally like a high fantasy intergalactic space campaign.
Well, it's intergalactic space. That's not high fantasy. You're now into the sci-fi area.
No. The high fantasy version of
Sci
space.
fantasy.
Yeah,
I've ran that.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Accidentally, in fact.
But essentially, it cuts out all that nonsense of having to spend weeks traveling in space because
Just
you just
womp.
because you just go.
Dungeon delving. I've had some of the most fun when you've worked your ass off for a really good dungeon.
Max damage brand items.
I don't
Oh,
think that's
I would-
an adventure type
No,
so much as...
I would actually like
think
to
it'd be-
second that because I really enjoy the backstory of max damage.
I always like the idea that
Not my
if
thing, not my world.
somebody's out there making magic items, somebody's going to be out there making bad magic items, probably on purpose.
Because there's one thing that you know about hyper-intelligent people. They're usually dicks.
Yeah.
I
But
could
just the idea is like
squeeze
there
more
should, there
power
should
out
be
of
more
this.
cursed items in general.
More
You
cursed
do not-
items is one
You do
thing,
not
okay.
see cursed items like
I
that.
am perfectly fine to throw more cursed items at you guys. That I can.
And I think a lot
I'm
of
not
times-
using your brand name.
I think a lot of times is people think cursed item, it's got to be some like you touch it and it kills you, some heavy curse. And I'm like, no, some little mild curses, like the sort of thing where you might be going, I'll make that trade.
What was the old vicious enchantment that is itself a cursed item? Like, here, do an extra 2d6.
2d6, take a d6.
Yeah.
Still, but I like that idea of the cursed item. It's like, it's cursed. What do you curse it for? And it's like, well, it's kind of a trade-off. Makes it easier to enchant heavier, powerful equipments if you draw some of the power from the person wielding it.
Or if you cut safety quarters.
Yeah, just
For
it's fine.
example, like the max damage javelin that shot a lightning bolt that started in your space.
Yeah,
so you got hit with a lightning bolt every time you did it.
Because the javelin of lightning was when you throw it, it makes a lightning bolt like the spell. And the version of it was, it's reusable, but it starts in your own space.
But to build on to the
It's like,
dungeon
you can do
delving
that.
recommendation was the idea that if you manage to get through the dungeon and get to essentially the final room of it, that we would end up getting some sort of collectible that we could take back for either town building or some sort of permanent bonus.
Yeah, I would like
some
better
sort of
loot
progression.
chests. Like, actually, not just money. I want better loot chests. I would like chests filled with loot.
Like fine art and stuff.
Well, the thing,
No, like literally a physical chest filled with loot. I'm trying to think, where do I do that?
I want a stereotype, and I want it to be people make fun of this dude because he started a stereotype. Like, I want it to be...
Because I never just put the loot in a box. I don't
want
tend
it
to do that.
I want it in a box. I'm tired of looking everywhere for the freaking loot, and I would like it if, like...
Now I get to hide the box.
See? That's fine. It's in a box.
Also,
You know when you found it, this is it.
just
Also, more chance for mimics.
yeah, I was gonna say.
So that's what my brain goes right to. Is like,
No, mine did too. Old Wizard just, I made a bunch of dungeons. It has refilling stuff, or I put stuff in there and some mimics.
No,
I love chess.
Remember, you laugh, I laugh, chair laughs.
Shoot the chair.
Any other points on that one?
I think we got more stuff further points down.
Yeah. So next idea point is what flavors of setting do you want to find in the world? Either from cultures of our own world, or myths, or legends, even select media that would inspire a setting flavor that I should consider having somewhere within the world. There is no metal. There is no metal.
Something that was I always interesting
There's
in
bluegrass.
the old Oriental Adventures book.
Okay.
I didn't like a lot of it. One thing I did like
By
about
old, do you mean
it, like not that
1E?
old.
You
Not
mean
that old.
3.5? Okay.
Not that old. Actual old, not ancient.
Well, I don't have the 3.5.
But the main thing I liked about that is it had this kind of concept where there was like this corruption that bad things came out of, and the way to fight it was jade. And I like the idea that there is just an ecological disaster in certain parts of the world that has to be actively dealt with. Usually with like rare materials, and that's one of those things he could bring. Like, why are there a bunch of adventures out there? Like, somebody's got to do this crazy, dangerous job for possibly rewards.
I think that would be like a really good campaign if we wanted to do something that was focused on basically like druids and rangers. Is like taking
Fight the corruption.
Yeah, essentially the nature of the land becoming corrupted, and then the job of the party is to go forth and purify it.
Druid Ranger campaign, also known as an all-druid campaign.
I'm also just like
No,
the idea that,
I've been turned on Gloomstalker.
that your enemies aren't just monsters, it's not just people, it's not just systems. It's like, no, the world itself should be fundamentally dangerous.
Okay.
At least in some places.
Yeah, and I know.
I like the idea of like, oh no, what's over there? Oh, that's a non-stop hurricane of doom. Why? Some wizards got in a fight over like 400 years ago. We don't even know who. Nobody can get through it. It's just a huge no-go zone.
Are they still fighting? Maybe.
We have
Wizards,
no
what
idea.
you gonna do?
We have no idea.
No, the funny thing is we get through it, and it's just a couple who got married, and we're just really tired of dealing with the outside world. They have this nice little community. They're like, no, we don't want visitors.
That happens all the time. Is a lot of worlds get built, and they've got no real history. Like the history's like, oh, there was a war here, a war there, and I'm like, where's the craters? Where you're dealing with wars where people are throwing out, huge reality warping spells. Where's the blowback from that?
I would like a world with a continuous history. Like, if we do the thing where we start doing, like, more political stuff where we work for kingdoms and stuff like that, that history that we make during that world can become set.
Okay.
And, like, if we move forward in time, that is a point of history that this happened.
Well,
That-
I think some of the adventures can.
Yeah, which
I'm
also
sure
would
would
do things like,
vary.
why, like, let's say they did a good job. Why are adventurers respected here and hated there?
This town hates adventurers. Why?
Well,
you guys' fault.
I mean, those are the kinds of things that really happen in like world events.
Yeah, because we got modern age. Our wars during World War II with guns and just explosives. The land still is messed up. Craters everywhere, remnants of trenches. It's like just that stuff's there, and you see a lot of it. Is like it's not super important because it's not usually the focus of an adventure. But I think that those things existing can be a big. It helps, gives more depth.
Also, it would make the history proficiency actually matter, because you can know things like, oh, there was a battle here. The last stand was over on that hill. There's a good place for a last stand over there.
Yeah, and if we crash a spaceship into the planet, we can go and loot it in the next campaign.
No. It was mysteriously previously looted.
Yes.
Maybe we'll find scraps.
Again, using some of my knowledge of what you've done before, the World War I setting, I could go for World War II/1. The World War setting.
I've not watched anything about World War I. I have watched stuff about World War II.
You didn't watch the Great War?
No, I didn't. You didn't tell me about it until it was more than a year through. With World War II, you told me the week it started. So I started that from the beginning. Great YouTube channel.
Yeah. I don't know which side it would be, but I could go for some steampunk.
Okay.
Just that is a actual setting. I don't think you've done much of straight steampunk.
That's because steampunk's stupid.
But like airships
as long
and
as steel exists, steampunk is stupid. I was Jim Butcher, the Cinder Spires series. The Aeronauts Windless is the first book in that. He makes it so that he made the environment where steel, like, corrodes almost instantly. So there's steel, but it has to be plated heavily with things. So it's why is everything brass? It's because steel goes bad almost instantly. So it actually makes sense.
Why is everything steam powered?
It's not. It's powered by crystals.
It's not steampunk.
it's crystal punk.
Yeah, I don't need the brass hats and gears on everything. I would like,
Why don't we
jacks
just
and,
do westerns then?
Western can also.
We don't need to go steampunk. Western is when they had steam powered everything. That's
Well,
what
I think his comment was he wants more of the mechs.
Yeah, I do want some Iron Kingdoms thrown in there.
Want some Gundams?
Yeah, that's not steampunk.
That is very
not steampunk.
It is not, but
That's
he
Gundam.
thinks Iron Kingdom and Iron Kingdom, goes a little bit to that style.
Steam mech.
But yeah.
There are literally mechs run on steam. How is that not steampunk?
They run on
Because-
magic.
Yeah, because steampunk has its own
Steampunk's an
separate.
artistic style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need.
Never mind, he doesn't like
steampunk.
steampunk.
It's many things.
Yeah.
Steampunk is.
I do like the idea of
Automatons
I
and
was
other things.
going to bring up the apparatus of Qualish and being able to make heavy use of something like that in a campaign. As far as like the basic idea of it, maybe the actual mechanics of it would be changed up to suit whatever. The
But
campaign is.
having magic items that function in that way of being mechs.
Yeah, and the idea of I don't know, having like a small squad or army of mech users fighting giant monsters.
Yeah, a souped-up apparatus of Qualish could be an entire campaign setting on its own, like an airship campaign, or you're in this giant, Wild Wild West spider. What you gonna do?
Hey man, giant spider in the third act. There it is. Blew my mind.
And boom, third act, giant spider.
Yeah,
Now we got it.
if we need to be a bunch of mechs on top of an airship getting dropped off to fight giant monsters, that sounds like fun enough campaign.
Other thoughts before we move on?
I'm just thinking through Egyptian, Roman, any of those special things.
Oh,
we
I would
want.
kind of like to have a Viking campaign where we are Viking raiders.
Viking Raiders.
That would be pretty fun. So then it's like ship elements with almost siege dungeoneering kind of elements.
Lots of sea travel, and then we murder a bunch of peasants.
It's steel or crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
super easy encounters,
very
no
heroic.
challenge at all,
We can wait till they're at church and go murder them in the church.
where they don't have their weapons.
Because God doesn't want you to have your weapons in
what's that
church.
word?
That's a bad choice!
Fair fights are for wusses.
Something else that I thought would be interesting is if we had like a psycho reactive biome to where essentially things were thought morphic.
That's one of those wizards did it areas.
That's not going to be material played at the very least.
Also,
It's an idea.
yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, won't be material. Could
Well,
be an idea for one of the
Yeah.
heavens or hells.
Think about having like a psychomorphic area within like the political campaign versus something that you have to adventure in.
So then the wisest leaders really would rule to the top because they're using willpower to force things to become. It would be interesting. It's kind of like how the Harry Potter world interests me because the jocks are not important. Like, the intelligent people in the Harry Potter world are the jocks.
Without the...
As evidenced
Yeah.
by Harry Potter's father being a bully.
Yes. But, like, the bullies should be the most intelligent people in the Harry Potter world.
Unless
So-
you're obnoxious about it.
Yeah, but
Which is why nobody liked Hermione.
Hermione, yes. No one liked Hermione because she didn't have the backbone to curse people.
I
I'm just saying,
Hermione, she
first
was
year.
smart.
I'm just saying, first year, if she just started laying down the law on those little shits, she wouldn't have had the problem she had.
but she obeyed the rules as a proper person did. She was good. I liked that.
Remember, most of the rules are about not using magic, the way you're not supposed to. You could totally just probably walk up and sock someone in the face.
Doesn't she
She
love
does.
her?
Yeah.
She does that.
It's
Yeah,
like,
no.
that's probably allowed.
That would be a real different school in America where someone just throat punches you. I can't use magic, but I can throat punch a dude.
I'm pretty sure it's no fighting. I wasn't fighting, that was a beating. He didn't fight back.
High European or what was that Gothic wizard stuff?
See, he's trying to make it metal. He wants Gothic architecture. He's trying to sneak metal in on you.
Gothic architecture with banjos. I love it.
Don't make me pull the metal banjo
Banjos!
song. You don't think I can't?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know what? You might get me to like metal.
It would be kind of funny if the gnome area was just super extreme metal guys who were just like nothing.
But no, an
Gothic
actual
that fades to Art Deco.
a just magetocracy, a Gothic magetocracy. I could see that being a cool section of the world.
Yeah, so you just want we're just fleshing out more political stuff.
Yeah, but he was like, what kind of different places would you want, is
Yeah.
this question. So, a Gothic magetocracy.
And Gothic largely referring to architecture or visual style. Okay.
Yeah, it's also where you shove all the vampires and
No, for
and
one of the
Victorian things.
Since this is related from one of the later points, talking about wizards, I would totally like there to be guilds all over the place, but have like make it to where it's like heavily competitive against each other, but it's more done through like competing over people fighting over.
I want Wizards Olympics.
Yeah, the like rare materials that wizards are going to need in order to be able to produce any of the stuff that they need for spells and magical items, and essentially like you'd have like guilds who are like specialized in maybe like whatever, we're all sub-school divination wizards, but then we have like an alliance with the conjurer.
Vocationists.
Yeah, and he's like, and we share spells and stuff, but not like the really best stuff. But we're in a alliance against like the necromancers and the transmuters, and we're competing with them in order to just kind of hoard resources for ourselves.
What are the evocationists doing? We don't know. They're just blowing shit up. They don't have alliances. What they have is killing fields. We just leave them alone.
They have caves placed all over the place to collect more bat guano.
Moving on. Are there any sorts of geographic features you think are important to have? Whether from some of the stranger places on our planet or general types of land masses, terrain types?
I want kingdoms and extreme places.
Mountains.
Yeah, like Goliath societies up high in the mountains where it's really hard to get to, or like evergreen swamps. I want some Cajun swamp people elves.
I actually wanted a
More banjos. These elves need more banjos.
I actually wanted a kingdom or a place to have it to where they could actually raise and lower the mountains and maybe even like crush people with cave mouths by eating them.
He's just not even going for the material plane, is he?
I will. You ever seen those like Chinese pictures with the like a couple hundred feet across mountains that go up sky high? They're like pillars, giant mountain pillars with bridges and stuff between them.
Nope, no idea.
Okay, giant mountain pillars.
Basically the same thing I said. People living up in extreme heights.
Oh, I thought like a solid mountain in coal.
These things.
Oh, the rock formations with a lot of erosion where they're just
Giant spires of rock.
lots of cool grass. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, having a place set in there. I don't know. Throw
It's the
bird
retirement
people
community.
there.
No, that's the retirement community.
I also wanted a super volcanic moon that people were fighting over in order to turn it into an orbital weapon.
Still not the material plane. I mean, in hell that could be a thing.
Why can't we have a super volcano moon that people want to shoot?
I don't know.
lava
That
with?
sounds awful Death Star to me.
Because of geologically
I think I've seen this
active
movie
moons.
twice.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's
There's
cool,
two.
though.
There's two different movies.
Just
that are
you know,
about exactly
overall we are Earth analog. I'm definitely going to be sticking to that.
We can throw in a Grand Canyon someplace. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, like I said, extremes.
Ooh, unless we can have like a space ocean.
For the love of God, Ryan, explain a space ocean.
Why would you
No,
do
I
that?
want to go on this journey. Shut up. Explain the space ocean.
It's water out in space that you can swim in.
Why
So,
isn't it
like,
ice?
it's its own, like, it has its own atmosphere. It's
Yeah.
almost like a small planet that's entirely water, except it's like a lake.
Yeah, it's like a plane of water that you can
It's
swim.
like how there's
Like a
freshwater
plane of
lakes
water.
in oceans.
I just want to pause, and because usually when we're playing games, Ryan is playing his character and he does so good. This is who I have to put up with all.
He's my favorite.
No, he's creative.
What's really funny is that
fair.
when we're playing games, Vic all of a sudden becomes stubborn, and Ryan's like, sure, whatever. I mean, I'm just playing my character, and Vic's like, I decide we go this way. And
Whereas
then
out of game, he's all like,
they're
"Ah."
like completely switched personalities.
What's the point of role playing if I'm going to play me?
I don't
I'm
know. I
thinking
saw a
of-
lot of you elements in Eric Rasprata.
I'm thinking
Which time?
Yeah,
gas
maybe
giant
that wasn't
except
me.
liquid giant.
That'd just be a water planet.
Yeah.
Waterworld.
Are we?
Yeah,
are
can we get Kevin Costner in there?
Are we married to the single planet or single material plane idea?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's kind of the thing about one world being built up. If there are more worlds, then he's just running
Yeah.
different campaigns.
I mean, like I said, I can run other games later on.
No. The idea would be that if there were like multiple like material planes or multiple planets, that they'd be able to interact with each other. So
You mean like David's?
it's sort of like that, but like say if we had like a high, except no Captain No Pants.
No, Captain
Which,
No
by
Pants
the
is
way,
his name.
David's is referring to the game Mortal Kind that my friend David has made. In which case, he has 3 different settings that he's made, but he's made them different planets in a solar system so that they can loosely interact between them. Except he has a god, which they, being the type of person that Ryan is, has named that god Captain No Pants. Sure, Austin, whatever.
Yeah, and we all agreed that that's his name.
Yeah.
Will stop people from taking technologies from one to the other that aren't supposed to be there, because he needed someone to do that, because
No, you can't have. You
these
cannot,
are who
You
are...
cannot take your airship onto my high
but-
fantasy
No,
world.
but the idea is to say that we wanted to have like a high tech setting and a high fantasy setting, and then like a low tech and low fantasy setting.
This won't be the last game that I run.
Yeah.
I will make other worlds, I can do other
Ryan,
things.
we're
in other
working
worlds.
on one
Yes.
place now. Stop
Okay.
building your second house. We're furnishing this one.
Technically, we already have medium tech level, then another less settled one, and a completely brand new continent.
But
So
I was
goes
thinking
down.
about the like high powered settings, using the low powered setting as like the testing ground, and all the low powered people being like, "What's going on?"
Which question is this one?
By the way, we'll be ignoring your space travel idea,
Okay.
which means in a later game, it technically could be possible that we use this as random planet that you visit and terrorize that doesn't end up canon, but that you get to play around with for that, because that would be that. But I would consider that a separate setting than this one.
Okay.
But yes, it is possible that this or many of the other worlds that I have created over time end up being planets that you can run, fly down and terrorize if we do run a space travel fantasy game at some point. But
Okay.
that would not be this world. This is just building the one world for.
Okay.
Okay, that campaign's going to be called Maps Within Maps because we're going to each of your settings, and you'll have to pull out each individual different map.
Did I keep them all? Some of them are not easy. I mean,
I can't imagine you threw any of them away.
yeah, but they're not all easy to find.
Yeah. Well, here's the question. Do you still have a Cato Claus character sheet from David's original game?
His name was just Claus. And probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not known for
It's probably in the folder right up there. I know where those are.
You're not known for getting rid of things.
You're a hoarder, Adam. You keep stuff too much. We're going on. So.
No, you're far better than a hoarder.
Yeah, can we
This
make a
place is
hoarding
clean.
punishable by death? In the
I will be constructing a pantheon of deities for this world.
Is that similar to a pantheon?
Do you have input on that? For example, spheres of influence that you want represented?
Yes. Oh, I really like crafting, and I like crafting to be either all of their own thing, or there being one god who is like notoriously ADD with crafting.
Okay.
Dawned.
And also, I want a god of like fellowship.
Say
Like camaraderie, like
Yeah,
that kind of, okay.
like, and I want them to have an animal companion.
The God of Friendship is magic?
That's his character from the god.
No, friendship is not magic. It is not that. That was dumb. Don't ever say that again. I'll drown you.
The idea that I had for the kind of pantheon was more or less you'd have the different religions having more or less like a single highest ideal that they're trying. Essentially, they've got like their conception of the best that they think that the world could possibly be in their mind, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to gather the faith of as many people as they can in order to do whatever it is, pray and bring rituals inspired by that particular ideal, in order to slowly like bring parts of the god in like the form of avatars down into reality to help them fulfill that idea. And the religions would be like battling it out, either trying to either persuasively or forcibly convert people, wiping them out by just killing all of the opposing people who are stealing faith away for a different idea, or creating a fusion where two religions decide that they have some sort of compatible vision of how they want to make the world, and decide that they're going to mix their two ideas into a single religion in order to start fusing those avatars and putting them down.
I hate everything about that. I like religions to be distinct and different and not necessarily in conflict with everything else to try to steal power from them.
Well,
So I've got two conflicting views here.
I hate everything about your suggestion.
I could see an evil pantheon / evil deity.
Yeah,
Being-
I hear that, and I think probably a deity that's enacting like that, but not necessarily.
To be lawful evil, propping up the idea of a iron-fisted totalitarian government of we treat our people right, we hate everyone else, and we'll do everything to treat our people right at the expense of everyone else. So, if you live in this evil society, things are pretty good.
If you pay your taxes.
Yeah, if you pay your taxes.
I'm a good person. I
It's
pay
more
my
like society-based
taxes.
than deity-based, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
an evil god's like, yes, do this for me. And that could lead into his grand arching ideas of this pantheon wants that to be the world. So, we're thriving all of our faith into totalitarian the world.
Yeah, I had listed a couple ideas for like highest virtues for the particular religious groups, which are like purity, beauty, harmony, freedom, understanding, virtue, and efficiency. And those aren't necessarily those could be taken either way, as to where it's a more neutral concepts, and that you could potentially have like evil versions of these things.
Well, with regards to pantheons, generally your big points are how strong are the gods actually, if they really exist, and how much power can they use on the material plane, and why aren't they using more? Because that's often a question that's hinted at in a lot of things and doesn't get thought about a lot. But I mean, most of these gods could wave their hands and wipe out cities. They don't, because of the mad agreement between all the gods where I won't wipe out all your followers by flipping my fingers if you don't do it to mine. And generally everyone's willing to agree to those rules. That's the standard name.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something to always keep in mind.
Then you get one of those swirly, death cult gods who I want to blow up the multiverse.
Tharizdun.
Yes.
And he's gone.
Oh, well, in 5th edition, they just get
brings up to me,
I think he's back in 5th edition.
whatever, Willamont and the Divine Gate, where they do
But
go
that-
into that, and this
but that's-
idea of they've
that's the whole
locked
point.
the doors with themselves inside to keep the others in.
Yeah, that was the whole point of Tharizdun. I'm going to blow up the whole universe. Every god looks up and goes, no. And he's gone.
I would also like the trickster deity who is not evil. He's just likes to play pranks.
Playful?
Yeah.
That's like most trickster deities.
Well, then you
Not
get into
how
Loki.
Adam plays them.
Well, remember, April Fool's is one of the most evil of holidays.
It's all about lying.
It's all about lying. It's
Yeah,
evil.
you see, I want a trickster deity who is all about the fun of the trick.
It's all fun for them. Everyone else is being liked.
It's very...
Okay, I probably do play them mostly as evil. That's a good point. Well spotted.
It's
like-
primarily because I really enjoy like the spider and the coyote of Native American folklore, where they're not necessarily evil. They just want to play a game with you, and if you play the game, you'll be okay. If you don't play the game, you're gonna regret it.
That's evil.
It's just that's how their tricks tend to work. Is if you play along and you let them have their laugh, you survive.
I can almost see it, almost the idea of, not even almost that, but that through someone that plays, like, that you should do good for those that play along and go along with it. Yeah.
You are supporting the playfulness of spirit.
Yeah.
I imagine they have orphanages.
You're saying something?
Oh, no, just
Got it,
Loki
okay.
being the evil trickster god.
And Odin being the neutral one.
I thought he was always the wise old man who didn't do anything.
No.
No.
Odin's bloodthirsty.
Oh.
He's weird.
His worshippers used to hang someone as a sacrifice. If you survived for 7 days, you became a demigod. No one's made it.
Yeah, I don't...
They hang you by your neck.
But
Yeah.
he would actually do shape-shifting in order to trick people and not have sex with them, unlike Zeus.
Yeah, Zeus wanted to bang them. Odin just like...
Well, Zeus had his... Well, what are you talking about? I saw Hercules. Disney showed me that he and Hera had a loving, successful marriage.
Never murdered anyone marriage.
And remember,
Hercules was their kid.
that's a Disney movie with both parents still alive. 2 sets of them.
But also...
Holy crap, I never even thought about that.
I only realized that a while back when I was
No
thinking
wonder
about...
Greece sued them.
Yeah,
I never-
didn't kill any of the
Didn't
parents.
kill the foster parents. Didn't even kill his mentor. Survive.
I mean, really, it was about trying... Yeah, that's...
Nobody dies.
Technically,
Well spotted.
he kind of lost an uncle a little bit.
And Hera didn't even spike him into the ground when he was a baby.
Yes.
Alright, so I am going to have other planes beyond this world.
On
Do you
this
have-
world?
Beyond.
Or...
Beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah, so...
It will have a planar cosmology.
Yes. In other words, I'm not just going to utilize the D&D planar cosmology. I will be creating one of
You
my
should be
own.
using the Great
Oh,
Wheel
okay.
from 3.5.
Is
No.
there one with a moose eating chestnuts?
I think that's the 5th edition primary one as well.
Nah, they did some weird crap with like Feywild.
Yes, they added 2 extra things to the Great Wheel. It's the Great Wheel with some bling on it. It's still the Great Wheel.
Shadowfell and Feywild?
Yeah. Do you have ideas or input to what sorts of heavens or hells, what sorts of things should be found there?
There should definitely be a Valhalla. Let's all go party and murder each other for eternity, then drink beer.
They fight all day, then they drink and wench all night. It's a pretty decent life.
Rather than having planes tied to like things that exist, each god just has their own. So if you end up on another plane, you know for a fact that you are in some god's realm. And whether or not they care is kind of a roll of the dice.
I definitely liked when we were in the astral plane having the alternative form of movement.
Okay.
That's something that I think is pretty cool, is having different gravities and different forms of transportation.
How much do we want to stay away from time shenanigans?
Yeah, far
a day in
away.
here is 2 weeks out there.
I mean, we did it a little in the last campaign, but I don't know if you would want us actively abusing
It's
that.
basically, if we're making crafters, time shenanigans are helpful. If no one in the group is a crafter, time shenanigans, there's no point.
In general, as long as things are moving forward, then time shenanigans don't get disruptive gameplay-wise. It's only when time shenanigans go backwards that all of a sudden things get confusing.
So you can slow the clock really far, but you can't start turning the clock backwards. That's where things go
Yeah,
bad.
there's a god of don't do that.
Wait, are we still going to, leave the possibility of us seeing our future selves and duplicating items like we did?
What?
You don't remember that in the one where we were going around hunting nobles? We saw our future
That was
selves?
a different game with different kind of time travel that was deliberately designed for, I did that as the campaign finale.
Yeah, because I traded myself a whole bunch of Rings of Wish so I could have them in the past.
Yes, that was broken, but that was the epic climax. That wasn't the plot of the game.
No.
And it's perfectly fine to do backwards in time stuff when you're finishing up a game and making a cool moment that people remember 5 years later.
I don't think I was a part of this campaign.
No.
I also had another idea for planar stuff, was that if you end up spending it, so if you're from the material plane and you're playing a normal character, the idea that if you end up going to one of these outer planes, or however you want to describe them, that if you stay there for too long, you could essentially be infected with planar corruption, in the sense that you would end up becoming more attuned to that plane, and maybe your character would end up changing in some way, but then you would become vulnerable to being banished back to that plane if you return to the material plane.
So because in core stuff they have things where things happen over time, but basically the possibility of adapting to that being your new home plane.
Yeah. And it's like you are now a creature of that plane.
Which also could be creatures from other planes that managed to spend enough time on the material could no longer, might not be able to just tell banishable based on this creature is here.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the idea of, I think they're called the outer planes in the old one, where they're just beyond the universe.
Oh, the
There-
far planes?
Yeah, there is the Cthulhu stuff coming to eat the universe. That's what God's supposed to spend.
Every world needs an excuse for where Cthulhu is.
Yes.
That's actually one of my hells in my world, but
There you go. That's the point. Is there just needs to be an excuse. Where's
there's weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Where's the tentacled weird stuff? It's got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Where's the hive mind?
Yeah, but I do like the idea of an outer threat to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be Cthulhu or whatever floats your boat.
And there could also be something interesting that you could do with having something similar to like a Booster Gold or a Planar Cops, like going around.
Booster Gold.
Going around.
You know he was never actually a cop, right? He made all that up.
Yeah, I know, but it's somebody who's like fixing the problems of the in-between stuff.
Oh yeah, he was actually time cop for a while though.
Mm-hmm.
He did actually have that job and was pretty good at it. After he realized you can't change the past.
Alright, so moving on to the next. What races are important to be available free to play?
Dwarves.
Oh,
Good. Dwarves are in there. What about them makes them desirable to be included within the world?
I'm offended you're even asking.
What?
I'm offended you're even asking why dwarves are important.
No, I said dwarves are included.
Okay.
Dwarves are one of the ones I already from the fluff I've already built.
Oh.
I have pounded tons of stuff into dwarves.
Cool.
Dwarves are well fleshed out. Very different than what you think.
That's important.
But one type of dwarf is not. But yeah, one type of dwarf is your traditional dwarves.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with
People with wings.
Bob. I love having more options of just
Not necessarily flyable wings, just wings.
Okay.
kinkus.
No, he wants a pixie.
I don't care. I just like wings. I just like wings.
Yeah. I don't, in race choice, I don't like limiting an entire multi-campaign universe to, and we're just not going to have elves, or...
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, ultimately,
What are you, some kind of...
in the grand scheme of things, I will also be building new races, so there will be alternate choices for a lot of things, which is why I'm also saying what about them, because I might say, well, I don't want to do that race, but this was the thing about that race that was important to have. So make sure that gets built into another option.
Whatever we decide with planes, the Genasi equivalents, people that are just fundamentally different than others because of their some tie to an extra dimensional space. Or
So that would also hit the Asmar and Tieflings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have grand plans for Tieflings.
There you go.
I want to have Tieflings for each of the hells.
All, like, what, 2 of them?
No, for each of the hells.
Beator and then Abyss?
No, my hells. All of the lower planes.
Oh.
He has multiple deities. Could be multiple different hells.
Yeah.
Those planes might not exist in the form that you're thinking.
Yeah.
You
You know, the hells, like the lake of fire, the outer darkness, the...
Stuff like that.
The Dante hells?
Well, those are both biblical hells, but... Those are both biblical descriptions.
Or are you
of
talking about the DMC Dante hells?
Those would be better. Quote unquote better.
Yikes!
I wanted highly intelligent octomorphs because I wanted to build upon that.
Octomorph.
Yeah,
Octopus things. Eight-legged cephalopods.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you like about that?
Cthulhu.
So to build on that idea that I had earlier, talking about the espionage game and the idea that we would be a bunch of people sneaking in and out of places.
Squeeze. You're going with squeeze.
Squeeze.
As in,
Octopuses can fit in small spaces.
How about you let him finish his sentence and stop guessing?
Anyway, the idea of you trying to catch us, if we were to be like octopuses and we don't have any, we're invertebrates and be able to squeeze in and go all different places, and I think that would be an interesting campaign as far as having it to where
Ooze people, yeah.
we're somewhat
I would like
amphibious.
Natural shapeshifters that have like one animal form.
Okay, like animal shift. Okay.
I also thought that it'd still be fun to play the highly intelligent pets, as far as having like the dog wizard and the cat rogue.
Non-anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, that's what I read that is.
Yeah. Another campaign that I thought would be interesting was we all play mimics with class levels. And so we're created by a wizard, and the thing is that as mimics that we can go around eating magic items and then like shape-shifting into those magic items and being able to use their functions.
I think he's figured out if he throws out really bad ideas, I'm less likely to veto his only semi-bad ideas. I want octopus people, but then I want to be able to play as non-anthropomorphic animals and mimics. Which one do I get? I see your game here, Ryan!
I
Well, look at the octopus people!
that's only part of this game. He wouldn't be mad at the other two.
Well, yeah, he's not stupid. He's not going to throw out ideas that he doesn't
I would
want.
totally play any of these games.
Yeah.
Another idea that I thought was interesting was a campaign where we played ghosts, and the only way that we could interact with the world would be through possessing people or things.
Nomadic peoples. Kind of the animal shapeshifter people is what I was thinking of, is that they were also nomadic by nature.
Okay.
So either tribal, where like this tribe it tends to be these, or it can be random, where you just find they're a nomadic people and you find your animal.
Just if we're going off, I guess like Camthropy, would there be a bunch of different races, or would there be, here's the stuff for the cat people?
No, and it wouldn't be like Anthropy.
Well, it wouldn't be like Anthropy, but there's, werewolf, wereborn, all that stuff, but they all fall under one heading. Would the different animals fall under one heading?
They would
Doesn't matter.
They would be one people, but they could shift into different animals.
Their
Their animal does not define who they
lots
are.
of sub-races.
Yeah.
One race, animal-based sub-race.
Full shift or hybrids?
I would prefer full shifts. Maybe a hybridization would be a possibility at higher levels. Like
a whole race of animaguses.
Which ultimately makes it where, depending, as long as it's not super powerful animals you're turning into, isn't hard to balance at all. It could be a lot of different flavor options that are relatively simple to apply.
Yeah.
I'd say another concept that I had for a game, this was initially based off the hierarchy in Hell with the devils, but it could potentially, if you wanted to change it, the concept could be applied to a different race. And was the idea that you'd start off as like a blood blub, so you'd be a lemur or something along those lines, but then as you play through the game and you can escalate through the hierarchy of Hell, and you'd be okay, for whatever these levels were bearded devils, but then we upgraded and now we're Arenias and
I want to play Pokemon with my race.
Essentially, you would shift into different races as the campaign continued, and maybe eventually you'd become whatever, like a unique version or something along those lines.
I could see that could be cool. A character race that some of them have, like, at 5th level you get this, but that's about where they drop off, of having a lot of their power built into the back end, where they get a lot more power than the racial spells. Like, I know...
Just real dangerous with how few campaigns go high.
And the other point is like, oh wow, what's these guys? Oh, these guys get really strong once they get high enough power level. They can live up to 400 years. What's their average lifespan? About 50.
They are hunted.
About 50. Yeah, they're hunted pretty heavily.
Hey, I'm just saying, it could be a cool race. Even if it's not a player race, that could be a cool thing just out there. I mean, it is a dragon. That is what...
Yeah, reincarnating bad guys. What are you doing? Killing a baby? Why? It's gonna grow up and become evil. Do you know that? The prophecy says so.
Oh, prolific dragons.
It's like, we kill this every 10 years.
Prolific dragons?
Yes. There are dragons. There's lots of dragons. There might be a dragon nation. Dragons exist. They interact with humans. They are prolific. There's lots of them.
Given that he hates talking lizards.
Yeah, I'm just like... well, this is an idea spot. I don't have to use them. I'm just getting your ideas.
You know how there's the different flavors of giant, hill, and fire giants? I was thinking adding extra giant forms to the orc race. So that not only are there the half orcs and the regular orcs, there's also like giant orc, or maybe a different version.
You want giant. You want
So you
giant
want orcs.
templates.
Yeah, orcs.
Yeah.
Or whatever you
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
Well, no, even just orcs as a race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess...
Oh, genius locais. I would like there to be locations where there is...
Sentient land.
Yeah, the land is sentient, or one of the creatures in the land has control over it. Like maybe a forest has some nature of
Super stag.
super stag or something of that nature, where like people don't go through it. Like the hazardous area is because the magic in that area got concentrated so much it actually elevated a highly intelligent badger, for example.
That we can't just steal his ion stone and belt away.
Like to the point of like human or near human or exceeding human intelligence, as well as control over his area. So like to travel through, you have to literally negotiate with the badger of the plain, or the
Unicorn.
the stag of the forest, or unicorns, or something like that.
So we
I'm
brought
hearing a
up...
lot of animal influence from you.
Dude likes druids.
Well,
So-
I likes what I likes.
Have you met our party member? He's a druid. Likes to turn into a cat.
You're such a dick. I
The
swear to
games
God.
ago, you're still.
I'm still annoyed by that. It's like, would you stop it?
And it's like, oh yeah, all 5 of us. That guy's a druid over there.
Oh, the owl. Okay, got it. Noted. I thought it was just an owl. Good to know.
No. He's real good at pretending.
So we have orcs with a K suggested.
No, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Giant.
Can the giant orcs be living in the plains so they're corn-fed orcs?
Can we
Like
have,
they're the hillbilly orcs?
Can we have rideable giant manises?
No! Stop it.
Well, that's a thing that you could actually do with Handle Animal. We have giant scorpions.
But yeah, giant flying manises that you could ride as mounts.
Oh, flying mantises. I was thinking giant scorpion. But I don't think we have, 8-foot tall mantises that have wings. And
Well, Adam,
We don't have giant scorpions. What do you?
And
I'm sure we have giant scorpions.
yeah,
Just as
We D&D or we Earth?
we D&D.
Okay, well, yeah. The whole point is I can make new things.
Yeah.
They don't have to already be in the book. In fact, for many things, not being in the book is better.
so you want, like, flying in the air, not flying as in the ones in the water.
what?
Different types of praying mantises, I'm guessing.
Well, you're saying praying mantises. That's not what I heard.
Oh.
Yeah, praying mantises.
Yeah.
They can sort of fly. It's more like jump hover.
So you want, like, mantis steeds.
yeah,
Okay, interesting, just different steed choices.
Okay.
You just want it to eat someone's head while you're flying by. I know what you're thinking. You're a crazy person.
They're vegetarians. So.
No, they're not.
They are when they're that size.
They're carnivorous.
They're vegetarians once they're that size. That's
No,
the only way
they would
can support
have to
themselves.
be. No, they'd have to be carnivorous. That's the only way they can support themselves.
They don't eat at all. The reason that they're green is that they photosynthesize energy.
They still got sword arms.
Scyther.
we could do the same thing with the aquatic version being a mantis shrimp that have the. Because you got the ones that are got the big punchy things, but then you
Or
also
the claws. Yeah.
or have the claws.
Bullet shrimps.
I'm just trying to think of if stealing from any other setting, like playable races.
Yeah, I totally want stuff to do with underwater.
Me too.
Merman, Pop. Merman.
And potential for pteronauts.
What?
Reverse aquanauts.
As in, a bunch of fish people come up in special breathing gear and explore the land.
Yeah, think reverse diving suits. Or reverse submarines.
Magic item to allow aquatic people to breathe air.
Mm-hmm. Or
Yeah, like when
transport water
in
with them.
what is that with the Hellboy movie with the
Yeah. Abe?
yes
That he sometimes wears and then sometimes doesn't.
yeah for
He's
funsies.
fine without it, yeah. It's fine.
He's like, why are you wearing this? Oh, this is actually a pillow. So I was napping.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else I want to curb at this moment.
Yeah. What classes need to fit within the world? Any special thoughts on the role classes play?
Like, do you have to go to a monastery to be a monk kind of thing, or? Because
No, I'm just spitballing ideas here.
Gross.
I would like
Seeing what sticks.
I would like to use a variant monk, basically, like a revised monk, basically.
What do you have in mind?
I mean, we can discuss it.
Just different.
Yeah.
That-
what
that's what-
in general?
that's-
What is the goal with the revised monk? To what end?
Make it more interesting to play, I think.
Do you think monks are interesting to play?
or just mechanically good.
They're mechanically good.
They have a lot of options.
Okay. Well, that if it's just the interesting, then I think that's just purely the fluff and how they're built into the world.
Well, it's the difference between wanting to add a subclass and reworking the key and other monk abilities.
I would want to redo their mechanics.
Like, to what? Focus more on pugilism?
Oh,
Less mystical nonsense?
yeah, probably that.
So you want fighters to have more martial arts options?
That would be the actual stance.
Yeah,
that'd be
because I'm
more
thinking
interesting.
there's whatever fighting stance and a subclass could probably give two different choices to add, martial arts things to a fighter to allow, either just a dip in one or to just go all out into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be interesting of making monks more of like a fighter subclass or something along those lines.
Or where monks are more of the tradition, whereas you can learn the fighting part of it without doing the whole
Things that
spiritual
give you
journey.
access to
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
And say that would also be interesting. Would be if we wanted to go to where you have like a fighter martial artist subclass, is that turning the rest of the monk class into some sort of like half divine caster or something.
Okay. So making like the fighters have the arcane bit, making a monk that has a divine caster kind of as its subclass.
Yeah, say something like that.
Interesting concept.
Unless we wanted to have it where monks turn into benders.
No, there is a subclass for that, and it's bad. It's like, we have that, and it's bad.
No. But like make it an actual good version.
Oh.
No habla español.
No habla copyrighted material.
You guys have a real problem with that.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Real problem. Other thoughts? I know you already mentioned wizards basically wanting colleges that interact, but for each school.
Yeah, I think
And that'll probably be within a specific society, somehow united. But essentially, probably being one school, but the heads of each, no one head of it. Just each department is controlled by its own, and they're all. Which one do you sign up for? Who are you accepted to?
yeah.
Almost giving a reason for the subclasses. There's fighters.
Mystical materials.
What does that mean?
Like, you know how there's mithril and adamantine?
Mhm.
I would like more of those
Okay.
options.
Okay.
Yeah, that gives a way better, scaling item thing. if you have
Especially
different
since
metals.
you don't like to give us magical items.
It depends.
Canonically, mithril and adamantine in 5th edition are considered magical.
That's
They are
why I
magic.
said mystical materials.
Yeah.
So
But you're specifically not wanting them to be magic, in other words.
well, they can be
Okay.
have magic-like properties, or they can be magical because of previous treatment or something like that. But I don't want them to be rare like magic. I want them to be something that
We want something to fall into the masterwork slot.
Okay.
I also like the idea of mystical things. Each one has a special property.
Okay.
So you might want a mithril sword for anything made of mithril is also finesse or something along those lines.
yeah, basically like change stuff around a little bit. Maybe a super light metal that not mithril that would make something finessable, or maybe bones of a specific creature being holy in nature, or something like that.
Yes.
Unicorn spears, unicorn horn
So
spears.
like the long idea in my inside game where I had the
I don't
basically upon which you held
that was
the
over,
bones of angels, you could
That was-
see the devils.
That was
Okay.
over 10 years ago. I don't remember any.
Longer
of that.
than that, my friend.
Yeah,
been
It's
closer to
been longer
15.
than over 10 years.
Yes.
You can't be longer than over.
Say I had
We
could be-
managed it. We
It could be
succeeded.
100 years ago, and that's still over 10 years ago.
I had an interesting idea for warlocks. Since they've given themselves over to a patron, I had the idea that they're somewhat because they've done that. The patrons kind of subtly remove parts of them from the world. So what this would end up doing is that when somebody ends up meeting a warlock, after a bit of a time, they almost kind of have like a memory lapse, or they forget that the warlock was there. That warlocks become sort of these obfuscated people who exist, but their patron kind of subtly erases the traces of.
The what do they call it? Incantation? What is the thing?
What?
Invocation.
Invocation. Yeah.
Invocation.
It would be one of the,
Basically, give a power like that to so if you want to play a warlock that people just forget.
Yeah, but that is a thing D&D doesn't really have. It's obfuscation. You can be straight up invisible sometimes, but there's not don't look here's or, forget me's.
Doctor Who's much better at that.
There's a memory erase spell, but it's like you gotta throw the save out. This is like more subtle than that and gradual.
Yeah.
To where it's like,
that's what the point of don't look here's and other stuff. Obfuscation. It is a gradual. What was I thinking?
Yeah. I also think it'd be neat for like barbarians and paladins to be like entertainers almost. Like
gladiators?
Yeah, like gladiators or something, or even people on the battlefield where they're have like a strong presence to where people look at them and have it to where you almost have like faces and heels as far as like the
barbarians.
Yeah, well, so it's sort of kind of like that.
WWE in this world.
Something similar to that.
I could see an entire subclass to either a non-casting bard that is a fighter, or face and heel or something.
Oh, that's another thing. So, with the idea of this was not something that we necessarily have to do, but an idea yeah. but the idea came from
that sentient furniture as a player character. That's not happening.
Yeah, and still that'd be fun. The idea came from doing like the Gestalt Bard, like everybody has to be Bard, but Gestalt with whatever else they had. Was the idea that inspiration dice that you can hand out, instead of it working like that, you would be able to play like a song and then take an action, and then everybody who could hear the song gets the benefit of that action. So it would be like
we want 3.5 bars back.
No, you use your inspiration dice, whatever the cost would be associated with that. You play the song, and then you take whatever the dodge action, and then everybody who's on your team that can hear the song gets the benefit of the dodge action or the dash action or something like that.
Yeah, I want it would almost be a different class. A bard variant that is purely performance inspiration based, no magic. Take all the power that would be to a 9th level caster, put that more into inspiration buffing.
So when you say that, so you're not speaking bard in entertainer, you're thinking bard in you want someone that can non-magically provide support role, buff.
Yeah.
Almost like a charismatic fighter that's a leader variant that gives out buffs.
Almost,
They have that.
what was it?
Yeah, I know.
Warlord?
Yeah, I know. Oh,
Banneret, Purple Dragon Knight.
yeah, that's something we could do is bring in some more of the 4th edition stuff of minions and casters specifically in low damage AoEs, controllers. Because something like that does make you feel really powerful, where these one-hit things are still a danger to deal you damage, but you can wipe them out easy. And it feels powerful to wipe like 10 dudes off a mat at once.
That's just a mob thing.
Yeah, I think specifically what he means, if you're not familiar with 5th edition, would be a minion would be a creature that basically has been knocked down to has 1 hit point, so any attack that hits, you don't have to roll damage, they just die.
And they do set amounts of damage.
And because you're running a bunch of them, you just use the average damage roll as opposed to rolling the dice.
Yeah, but not many of your ones have actual groups of people. I guess it's because they're harder to run for you, so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you remember that campaign? End game.
Even that wasn't a lot in my mind. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of work for you, but it was still only like 8 dudes.
No, that was like 12 dudes.
I do like the idea of having it to where you got like goblins or kobolds or something, and they have the ability to use like pack tactics, or
They literally have the ability pack tactics.
or whatever. What is it? The wolf totem barbarian abilities, to where you can give advantage to your teammates and stuff like that, or whatever. Just, essentially, something that allows like those weaker races to do like combo attacks of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I was saying with the bard is, I'd like a bard that's focused on the entertainment for boss and got rid of the magic. Just a pure, I am a storyteller singer, and I still have a role in the group without
it almost
falling
sounds
back
like
to magic.
Instead of like getting rid of magic, you'd want a bard, except they have like infinite use invocations instead of spell slots.
Yeah, something like that. But take away the choices and extra choices of magic to be a lot like invocations. Yeah. I guess you could do a bard warlock and
something
change
like
their
that.
spell list
Yeah.
to be a very limited thing and have extra invocation / powers and inspiration or something.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be just kind of interesting to give another class something similar to invocations.
Mm-hmm.
Or what you said, or he just said basically give a warlock the ability to go bardic powers
Yeah.
with their invocations and such.
Yeah. Well, my idea is I want a class to begin another class by taking away a huge chunk of their power to put in a different power.
Mm-hmm.
Because casting for Bard is a big chunk.
Mm-hmm. What sorts of technologies do you want available in the world, whether common or rare?
Well, it's going to vary from place to place, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea is if we go with having black powder firearms, is that anywhere or is that nowhere?
I would actually think having it to where
Aqueducts?
the world's like got a high level of variance to it would be pretty interesting. So
It does.
we would have, for the purposes of a storytelling telling engine for the world, that we could essentially play kind of tribal stone and wood people, and being able to do that. But then also having like laser-powered weaponry would be cool too.
Okay.
In the cloud city that's floating above everything.
Okay. Given the World War II setting, the non-magic people, would they have access to trains for their transportation? Because I know you said the magic people had those lightning teleport rail line or wire lines.
Lightning rails, yeah.
So
trains sound like a good...
that's
going a little steampunky, yeah. Be a good culture to have a reason to develop it, yeah.
Yeah. Are cannons / like artillery, but not World War II artillery, where you're just firing hunks of... I want to replace my trebuchet with a cannon.
Black
so
powder.
You want black powder to be available for siege engines, but not everyday life.
Yes. Like, you might...
Like there are pistols and rifles, but there are cannons.
I would say pistols and rifles are very rare and new, because the artificers
Super
could have
expensive.
it. Yeah. I want to say the artificers could have it, but those are distinctly magic in the non-magic area. If that's where the heart of gunpowder / steam power would be. But yeah, rare, like, a D10 rifle?
Something else that would be kind of interesting is like planar powered technology. It's being able to like put in pinhole sized gates to different planes in order to power technology. And so you'd be able to like tap into
Like run a forge off of a fire plane.
Yeah, and so you run it off.
Been there, done that.
Run off a fire plane, or maybe you have the lavas of hell running through whatever your apparatus is.
Or having
One of those seems more dangerous than the others.
Or have a hell plane that uses a toilet.
Or being able to create some sort of shining light that comes from heaven.
Sorry. Garbage can of airplane.
The air garbage can, yeah.
Sorry.
That was best. That allowed us to travel around in our portable hole.
And use it as a toilet.
and get air. I like the idea of certain things have either magical components that can run technology or stuff like that. Some creatures are magical because they have a thing in them that radiates power, and we want to take that thing for them for power.
Okay.
It's like, not every monster has a crystal in it, or whatever it is, but some would be nice for technology based on that.
So you want the adventurers to be driven by the need to collect magic stones to power the technology that runs society?
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, in books.
Well, yeah, that too.
Specifically the Ludus books, that's the main plot behind like how that's how they run their tech.
For this section, would we be able to have like a society of people who could actually like craft flesh and bone, and who would be able to use essentially the bodies of different animals and maybe even themselves in order to create technology that they
So
would
you
run
want
off?
flesh golems.
Sort of
Yeah,
like
you're looking for
so
like if you don't have enough
Dr.
money-
Frankenstein is what you're...
stuff like that, or
So if you don't have enough money for a babysitter and a dog sitter,
Well, I'm overthinking.
I haven't even seen it, and I know to be sad.
Nice. No,
It's fine. Fusion dance.
but like being
Together
able to
forever.
turn, like the flesh crafters being able to turn an elephant into a bus, but it's still alive, so it can move around.
so you want...
No, just because it makes me sad, no.
No. He wants Flintstones meets necromancy.
that's a really fast bike you got there. Yeah, it's Cheetah.
Yeah, Flintstones meets necromancy. We use these corpses to... Or just a society that literally is pro-necromancy. You give up your body when you die to the greater good. We make zombies. They are our labor force.
It's different than that, than trying to turn an elephant into a bus.
Yes.
So you would be okay with a bunch of zombies just Flintstone running down the street with
Chariot pulling.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just have sprinter zombies.
I could better imagine that society.
Yeah, just a society that decided once you die, your corpse is just meat, and we have magic to control meat.
Mm-hmm.
Who works in a society? I mean, the undead.
Yeah,
Eventually I will.
Eventually, me in about 80 years.
They're dedicated vegetarians. Why? Because meat is for society. Meat is not for a person.
Yeah,
You got to keep that body healthy. You got to have a good skeleton.
You gotta eat a little bit and get all your vitamins.
Yeah, that's another thing that was kind of last campaign. A lot more variety of, just zombies and or skeletons.
Yeah, no, I totally liked my system of being able to trade my army for bigger
Slots.
people,
Salads.
bigger minions.
I had something.
I know. I just enjoy the juxtaposition of zombie chariots, and they're all just dedicated vegetarians. Like it looks like this cute little farming hamlet, except for all the corpses. The scarecrow really starts shaking and moving.
Yikes.
Yeah, but entire area.
Just super bright colors, bright and cheerful.
I'd say that it'd also be interesting to have it to where you'd have a society where they were able to like not like zombies, but being able to control things like ropers in order to be able to do stuff.
Monster Tamer Society?
Yeah, like a monster taming society, and it's like we need these different monsters in order to perform different tasks that we have them, and it makes our lives easier.
The
So
vegetarian,
then circus. Yeah. Well, I think more circus.
Yeah.
the vegetarian necromancers were really beautiful artwork and amazing buildings all over the place because the people who are alive have nothing better to do than to create.
Yeah, you either go into the arts or you go into necromancy.
Yeah, so it's like a hippy-dippy art community where all the labor that is not like creative is done by corpses.
Yeah, no. You've created a mini post-scarcity society because you don't have to worry about actual labor force. And giving the people a chance to explore the arts and other such things.
And they don't have to eat, so.
Prestige is only given to those who create.
I like this little corner of the world that may not show up, but has been fleshed out.
Yep.
It's super hyper creative, but it's also
and-
a very
And
weird
also,
place.
just saying, anyone watching, pilfer any of my friends' ideas. If you think, hey, that would be fun for my game, that's absolutely why I'm leaving in every one of their ideas, even the stupid ones.
Hey,
And some of you have had some stupid ones.
That's a great idea.
I'm not
That's
saying which ones are
hilarious.
stupid, but some of them are stupid, Ryan. But dude, play a game where you play as animals with class levels. That's not this game. But it would be an interesting game.
I just love the Canadian necromancers of creation. Just has really peaceful chilling.
I like
with
the
corpses
I
everywhere.
like the idea that they
What a
have
booty.
like magnificent mansion contest where they like come up with the best mansion that you can.
That's some upper level casting. That sounds like the Wizard Olympics I want to see.
Yeah, the Wizard Olympics. Maybe that's what they do.
I don't know. That's the thing. Do we want to, in the at least civilized world, have a national sport or an Olympics taking place between the two countries that hate each other, even though it's wartime?
But we totally held off.
Ah.
Hey man, Olympics in Berlin.
Yeah, that was before the war.
I mean, a little bit.
Yes, a very little bit. And then Jesse
may-
Owens went over there and just stomped all over that area in beliefs, and they had to start a war because Jesse Owens too fast.
We can wrap that into the stuff about the deity. So, however often they have it, once every 4 years or whatever we want the Olympics to be, that they are forced to have it. And if any of them are decided that they're going to go to war and like, no, we're going to postpone it or we're going to call it off because of this or that or the other, then the gods actually just start killing the leaders by hitting them with lightning bolts until they start.
There is like an actual treaty between the god of war and the god of games that this has to happen.
And it's like, no, you're participating in the Olympics or I'm just going to go down the line and start knocking people off.
Until someone said, "We're gonna have the Olympics, God, stop murdering us!" A deity mandated games.
And he's like, this is the great game.
Dance.
Don't you care, Cancer? Dance, puppets, dance! I want to see how far you can throw that spear.
Yikes. So, anything else on this subject of technology?
I like the war area has a decent, black powder / trains.
Well, is it war or is it crafting?
Trains are pretty cool.
And black powder is incredibly useful in things besides killing people.
Yeah.
I know it's weird for me to say.
Mining, yeah.
I feel like you mostly use black powder not to kill people.
You don't know about what I do in my free time.
I'm making some assumptions about how rarely you kill people, but those are my assumptions.
I might be
we
like
wanna
Dexter
have-
level corpses, you don't know.
Airships.
Yeah.
How does 12 sound?
No.
12 what?
There's just 12 artifact level airships that float around and different people grab them sometimes.
Also, I think it would be neat to have either better version of or like permanent versions of Tensor's floating disk.
If there's only 12 airships, can they be expressly controlled by the god of travel? They're not airships as much as the god of travel's floating temples. Just Farlingham temples.
Nah, I would say if there's only 12, then they have to be a reward given by the deck of many things.
No, I just think it's the god of travel's airships, and you don't pay, but you have to go to somewhere new. Like they have a divine sense of where you've been, so you can go one way, but now we're back.
And can our airships also be grappler ships?
You don't get them; they're temples.
So that they have arms coming off of them and they can grapple the other airships?
Yeah, it's
That
Outlaw
immediately-
Star.
That immediately
Are you,
goes to...
are you going to just keep running away?
Are you just going to keep running away?
Just keep running away. You know, I had things to do today, and now I have to go watch Outlaw Star. You guys suck. That's such a good show. People, I like that better than Cowboy Bebop.
Which brings up, do we want Magicasters guns?
Well,
I
we
mean-
only barely have guns.
No, those
Well-
are just wands.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just wands.
Well, wands with changeable cartridges. Which would
More
technically be
wands.
stored spells, I guess.
So why don't you just have a gun that you could put wands in? A rod of wands.
Yeah, rod of wands.
Well,
Like almost like an item that lets you better utilize a wand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is if you put
Something you can
Rays
do.
of Enfeeblement in it.
Yeah, you can only
was-
shoot one at a time would just finish.
That was
fix
back
that real
during when
quick.
that did something, though.
Yeah,
Oh.
Ray of Enfeeblement doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah, you can
Ray
fix
of
that.
Enfeeblement isn't an actual spell.
You can fix
It's
that
a
real
spell.
easy
It's a
by
spell, but
only
it's not
letting
the
one be
same.
cast at a time.
Yeah.
But also, you have your gunslinging healer who's shooting heals across the battlefield.
Yeah.
I also think it's the idea is funny of making druids like the crazy doctors that live just out in nature, and you got to go find.
Okay. What kinds of monsters and creatures ought to be included, whether specific or general categories?
Dragons.
I'll throw one or two in.
No, I want a lot of them.
5, then fine.
No, I want like 500 or 600 of each variant.
But what are each variant? So the forest dragons, the sea dragons.
No.
What?
No, why would I do that? No. Chromatic and metallic.
Boring.
I like those.
Boring.
You're boring.
Well, you want like snaky dragons?
No, screw those snaky dragons. Those are lame. I like European dragons. Chinese dragons suck donkey dicks, and not in a funny way.
Today I learned there's a funny way to suck
No. Hey, Asian dragon doing it in a funny way. I have to imagine the dragons holding him up and they're flying.
I try not to. It would be pretty funny to see. You just look up and go, "What the hell?"
One of these days I'm gonna accidentally smack you, and you'll deserve it.
It's like a dragon ran off with my donkey today, and that's not the worst part. What's the worst part? You don't want to know the worst part. He brought the donkey back. The donkey looked relaxed.
So no other creatures of interest.
Cobblers.
Remove donkeys from the world. Interesting.
Well, like
No donkeys, no dragons. All right then.
like those little helpful fey creatures. Like they'll
Elves?
No, not like elves. Like actual, like the little mythical fays. Like where if you leave some cookies out and turn away for a night, they'll do some work for you.
Elves before Tolkien got involved.
Yeah, that sort of nonsense. Like man, I got a
Elves
huge
and brownies
just,
and
somebody in the
cobblers.
blacksmith going, I've got so much work, I'm never going to finish it. Have you tried leaving out cookies and leaving for the night? How is that going to fix all these orders? Have you tried it?
No.
Or like all
And
of
then boom, elves come in and make all the stuff for you.
or like all of my entire shop walls falling over. It's completely ruined. Like all of my organization's ruined. I have to stop everything I'm doing to organize this. And his wife's like, take care of it tomorrow. What's that? I made banana bread. Take care of it tomorrow.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave it out. We're just gonna leave sweets out for the elves, and they'll fix it.
You can actually bribe the Fae to do things.
The
for
thought that immediately comes to mind goes to your good trickster deity, somehow tying that back and forth of what are they doing to you and what are they doing for you.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so good news is the Fae came and they finished all my orders. Bad news is there are 15 invisible whoopee cushions and I've only found 4. How do you know? They sent me a letter. Was the letter a lie? Maybe.
There's 14.
No.
You're to make sure you are always worried about that one more.
No. How do you know? Well, I found the largest number I found is 15.
because once you find it, it becomes visible.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and their number.
Different type of fae that can't lie.
Oh yeah, old school Fae, they can't directly lie to you.
I like, I gave this suggestion to David a long time ago. I don't know if he actually included it, but a wilderness Fae that's based on alignment. Like, good, neutral, and evil. Where the good, they'll help. The neutral, they won't mislead, but they don't help. And the evil, they deliberately mislead.
Here, will-o-wisp leading you to the place you need to go. Here's will-o-wisp leading you to a canyon of death.
Yeah, basically.
One of us will help you. One of us will hurt you.
One of us tells the truth. The other always lies.
The answer is you punch them both in the face and set both doors on fire.
And you just walk away. Don't you need to go through the doors? Don't care. I'm not in the mood anymore.
Yeah, just set both of them on fire.
But no, I'm just gonna. What are you gonna do? Oh, I'm just eating these people until the fire goes out.
You push both of them into either one's door.
That's the point. Don't play games with riddle speakers.
Yeah, you don't indulge the riddlers. You ignore the riddles and move on with your life.
And say I mentioned giant monsters earlier during the Steam Mech segment.
Mm-hmm.
Kaijus.
I like the idea of rainbow talking ravens. Can we have a...
Did you say rainbow and ravens? Because I feel like that's
I
defeating
think the talking is
talking
the bigger
parrots?
issue.
He wants talking parrots.
No, they have to be ravens that are just fabulous.
Corvids.
Yeah, we have blue jays. They're corvids. They're smart. Can't some ravens talk? So
Yeah.
there could totally be a rainbow-colored corvid.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a bird of paradise corvid. I don't know how that would be different from a regular bird. I mean, it would be cool to see. I don't know what they do in the world.
They can just be part of a culture. There are cultures that are based around birds that create nests out of their saliva, and that is greatly impacting to some cultures within the world. So
and just chromatically flexible birds.
But what breath weapon is he gonna have?
Yeah, you can do whatever.
And now I'm thinking of flying cephalopods that have the hiding, the
Chromatophores.
Yeah, chromatophores. There has been an offshoot of evolution of there are now land-based cephalopods.
You saying flying made me think of like cephalopod paratroopers.
It's like they're just holding on to someone.
No, just like arboreal cephalopods.
Arboreal?
Yeah, arboreal.
Yeah.
Well, you said arboreal.
Tree climbing cephalopods.
Which sounds like something that bores for ore.
Could we have funny monsters?
Like flumps?
Like the Kilmu?
Yeah, like whatever.
Probably not.
Kilmus are gigantic ladybugs.
You can say them, but in a realistic perspective, I probably won't use them.
Okay.
Kilmus are gigantic hermaphroditic ladybugs that produce milk and are used as beasts of burden. It's the mighty Kilmu.
Thanks, David.
That was my fault. David
he allowed it!
No, he didn't. He refused it. It's really more of the problem that has never existed is my issue.
It's my dream. More, it doesn't exist.
Also, aren't those just the things from Futurama?
So you wouldn't want like us to be fighting enemies that have like a similar humor to like Earthbound or something.
I mean, I guess there were giant.
I wouldn't want to build that into a world that I am otherwise taking serious. Earthbound is great fun, and if you haven't played the game, you should. However, it is its own world, and it wouldn't be every world that is like that.
And then to go back to a previous point, Plane of Dreams.
Okay. Odder things can be in the Plane of Dreams, yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Joel.
Plane of Dreams. Could we have...
yeah, because I think I've mostly talked to you about all the different monster types and things I like.
And could we have... monsters that inflict some sort of either psychological or body horror type thing?
No, we cannot. I hate those. I hate that idea.
So, thoughts on were-rats? Prolific as the dragons?
Very prolific.
Yes.
If we can have crap tons of dragons, I'm fine with that. I can always make a new character.
But I can't make more dragons appear in the game.
I can!
One example that I've seen is...
Vic, I know you love the cardboard. Why don't you just ditch the box and put the candy in the bag?
That's not how it came.
It didn't come in the plastic bag either, but you were pretty
it did by the time he got to it, because it's extra candy that my nephew didn't eat. So my mom gave it to me, so I put it in the box for Austin.
So one example that I've seen is you have a doll that has like a needle, and that if it hits you and sticks it in you, you swap bodies with the doll, and it runs off with your body, and you're stuck with the doll body. Or
that's a creepy doll.
Or
it always watches you.
or there was a scenario where the adventurers were given a quest in order to find a what's going on with a bunch of people going missing from the town.
Yeah, I could do with some more suspense-based monsters. but it's hard because when we see a monster, we can just murder it.
Suspense is built in the land of no magic.
I disagree.
It is the only place where I can have any suspense, so...
But like the idea that people are going missing from a place, but then like the creature itself has some sort of a ability to hide what it's doing, and that it makes it more difficult, and we have to like pick apart the actual like physical clues that remain of the thing that it can't just wash away.
Theoretically, the non-magic place is digging for a lot of coal and other gunpowder things. Something came up from the deep. That's John Carpenter's The Thing, or something like it. A suspense.
Have we tried setting the entire town on fire?
It's a coal town. It'll burn forever.
Yeah.
There's places in America that
Problem
have been on fire
solved,
for like 90
quest
years.
complete. Let's go turn it in.
But having a
The tournament spot was in town.
Well, you know. That's,
but
You know, we'll just find a
rob
question
the
mark.
place after we're done.
having a monster that can kill somebody and essentially take their place without people knowing it.
Doppelgangers.
Why, Ryan?
Because there's not enough suspense in our D&D.
I disagree.
Another idea would be something similar that Austin has implemented in some of his old campaigns, is having boss creatures that are like multi-phase, to where you...
It's not physical yet, but yes.
Yeah.
They just did that with Mythic Odysseys of Theros.
You've got it down to 0. Okay, its health is reset back up to 200, and it has new powers.
Oh, then you just pull out your yellow cake rocket
not
launcher.
like that, to where you have to like pick apart the specific sections of the creature in order to...
You mean like the mummy that
One
you
of them
can
has that.
unwrap?
Oh, okay.
As its extra second phase stuff, yeah. And then just any other thoughts or ideas I should take into consideration as I build this new world. No thoughts. That head's just blank.
Yeah, no, I got what I wanted to Dungeons, Adventures,
I'm not a creation man. I'm a modification man.
I would like
giant monsters,
there to be
town building.
drill vehicles that could burrow through the earth. So we could essentially have some sort of like underground campaign that's different than the one that we just finished.
Can we use it to pierce the heavens?
I mean, we could. That could be a whole thing where we're trapped underground, get drill vehicles, and then go to the surface.
And we can
Fight
rah, fight the power.
Yeah, fight stuff.
Anime.
What?
That's anime.
That's what he's referring to.
Okay. There's much anime.
Yes.
Anime do that. Anime do that. Maybe anime not do it.
I don't know. Anime do it. I could also, seeing every once in a while, you can isekai some people into it. Because you've run one isekai storyline.
No idea what that even means.
World transfer.
Okay.
So, sometimes magic people get around. It's like, we want to summon someone from a different plane. By coming over here, they get superpowers.
I'm
Extra
pretty
powers.
sure we just called those fish out of water stories.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I suppose you could be a giant weeb.
You could use fish out of water. Isekai is thematically different, mostly in the ground. That fish out of water is usually a
You could go to a
social
different country.
change?
Yeah.
whereas Isekai is usually a reality change. There are new rules to how living works.
Oh, okay. You're still
I
a
also
giant
use-
weeb.
I mean, fish in the
yeah.
water would still qualify, but if you told people we're going to do a fish in the water story, they would not be expecting Isekai.
But I would at least expect something as opposed to, huh?
Yeah, yeah, you expect something. But you probably wouldn't expect it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do a fish out of water story with a lawyer from the modern age. It's like, oh, what's his fish out of water story? He's in another world with gods and goddesses. He has magic. He's been chosen by one of the divine ancient gods, and there's dragons. And it's like, oh, technically out of water.
He is definitely not
that
in
is
his
new for him.
element.
That
He
is-
did
that is
not,
new.
in fact, go to Harlem.
That is new, but probably not super quick.
And we'll call this story the Dragon Litigator.
So, you guys run that game. I'm going to keep...
The worst part about it is they always drag on.
Otherwise, I think that's about all I can wring out of my players here. But yeah, so I'm going to keep working on the world, and did you have something else to add? Because you're
yeah.
acting like you're trying to say something.
Yes. We could do another one of these videos later after you've built up stuff to get in Austin of he's a modifier.
Yeah. Give me something to work with. I can't build my own Legos.
Yeah. There's technically would have been a lot to work with, but I wanted to get your ideas first.
Yeah, so,
I have a 10-page document of what I'm thinking about that I accidentally
I didn't
made first.
see that.
I know. He's like the only one that really knows much about it because he's the one that's always on to throw ideas off of.
Throw them off of him. Get those ideas off him. He's suffocating.
To bounce ideas off of.
now you're just throwing stuff at me.
Which is hurtful.
That's kind of the... I mean, you don't really do anything with it. You just throw it, it comes back. It's still the same. It's just bounced a bit since then.
Rubber glue.
But yeah, so I will continue to do more of these. Some of them I may just sit down and try and work out something as I go. Many others I will probably sit down and just sort of say, here's what I've come up with over a period of time, and go over the notes and kind of sort of walk you through it as I did in the first of these actually building a world videos. But again, take whatever ideas you can use in your own world building. Like, comment, subscribe. Fun YouTube stuff. It does help. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.